Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. Now this is a very different video to anything we've ever uploaded before on this channel. You may be wondering, Cam, where's the instant match reaction to the game against West Ham? Where's the player ratings? Where is the game review? What's going on? How come you've gone completely silent? And I know that there's been a few people that have written some nice comments asking how I am and hoping that I'm okay and all of that sort of stuff, and I do really appreciate and thank every one of you that has written one of those comments or written a tweet or whatever it might be, concerned about me and the channel. I am fine. I am absolutely fine. I do have some news that I want to share, and I do want to discuss something regarding the channel because I think it's really important. But I just want to start firstly by talking about Saturday afternoon because, listen, we all know Everton Football Club are not the easiest football club to support. And at the moment, we are incredibly difficult to support. Let's have it right, and it's harder and harder and harder as the weeks go on, as the off the field news rolls in about points deductions and new owners and X, Y, and Z. The on the field performances are absolutely atrocious week in, week out. It is incredibly difficult for any of us Evertonians to get any joy whatsoever out of our football club, and that has been the case for the majority of my lifetime, but certainly for the last 3 years whilst we've been fighting these relegation battles. And doing this channel is often a way of helping and often a way of combating that negativity and that negative feeling by coming on and talking about it and engaging with other people and listening to other people's opinions, etc. But it can also almost act as a feeder to that stress and that anxiety and that overriding sort of feeling of impending doom. And I'll hold my hands up and be perfectly honest. It got to me on Saturday. It got to me. I was absolutely distraught. I was in a horrifying mood. I didn't do an instant match reaction. I didn't do a player ratings because I felt if I was to sit in front of a camera, there would be nothing I could have said that would have been productive. Now, I understand, a lot of people will say some of your best videos, some of your best rants have been in front of a camera when you've been angry and when you've been emotional, Cam, but this was a different situation. This wasn't just me being angry. This wasn't just me being frustrated. This wasn't a case of me being able to sit down and talk for 10-15 minutes and then move on with my day. This really got to me on Saturday evening, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about my personal life, but it very nearly caused a lot of issues for me personally, with various different things, and it made me realise that as much as we all love Everton, as much as we all, are Evertonians and go to Goodison every week and go up and down the country watching Everton, it's not the most important thing in this world, and it's not the most important thing in this life. Everton is a huge part of my life, always has been from the day that I was born and always will be until the day that I die. But the reality is it is not the most important thing in life. And there are other things that are much more important, and there are situations where Everton Football Club ultimately are not the priority. And I feel like for far too long now, I've allowed this football club to ruin my day, ruin my week, ruin my, month, whatever it might be. And by that, I don't mean that we lose and I'm just in a bit of a bad mood, or I look at the, Twitter and I'm a bit frustrated or whatever. When I say ruin my day, I mean I'll sit in bed and not talk to anybody for the rest of the day. Or I will be that irate and angry that I'll, cause an argument over absolutely nothing because of how frustrated and upset I am with Everton. And I had a huge realization on Saturday night that there is absolutely no world where I should be allowing 11 overpaid professional footballers who don't know I exist to have such a negative impact on my life. and on my personal life and on the way I feel. Yes, I can get it. You know, obviously we're going to be upset. Obviously we're going to be frustrated. But I sat on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday night, and I was seeing lots and lots of tweets of Evertonians that were frustrated at the match, but had moved on to do other things. For example, shite that today, but lovely night out with the missus, or lovely meal for the family, or lovely evening doing this, that, and the other. And I couldn't have that because I allowed Everton to completely wreck and ruin my entire night and my entire weekend, and I sat basically on my own and didn't want to converse with anybody. And like I said, it really, really hit me that that is never, ever happening again. Never, ever, ever happening again. And as I'm sure some of you may know, if you've watched this channel for a while, and if you've known of this channel for a while, I am quite the emotive fan. I'm not scared to come on here and say how I feel. I'm not scared to come on here and give my opinion. And typically, I'm not scared to come on here after a game and have a go at whoever I think deserves to be criticised. But it gets to a point where it just becomes too much. And it turns from being a football team you support that you want to win, and if they don't win, you're a bit annoyed, but it's not the end of the world, to being, I feel like if Everton don't win a game of football, it's the end of the world for me. And considering we've not won a game of football since December, it's been a difficult few months. Now, I'm not going to go into the intricacies of me and my life. I've said before on the channel that I suffer from OCD, anxiety, and various other things, but definitely OCD, and it's very, very difficult for me to be emotionally invested in something and not be 100% emotionally invested in something. It's very difficult for me to adopt the whole, it's only football, don't worry about it. And I'm jealous, by the way, because I see me dad every week watch Everton lose, and then 2 hours later he's laughing and joking and he's not arsed and he's moved on to something else. I see, as I said before, loads of people on social media who are able to put it to one side and focus on what's actually important in life, like family or friends or whatever else. I just really struggle to do it. I really, really struggle to have that separation. And because of that, I think it's time that I actively try and have that separation. Now, what I'm saying, I'm not saying that I'm not going to watch another Everton game this season. I'm not saying that I'm not going to go to another Everton game this season. What I'm saying is I want to get myself to a position where this doesn't have as much of an impact on me as it's having now. And the reason I'm making this video and the reason I'm telling this is because this decision I've made will have an impact on the channel. Now, I'm not trying to woe is me or get any sympathy or try and ask for people to, comment that you're all right and all of that sort of stuff. I'm not asking for any of that whatsoever. However, it's... you are much more involved, as I'm sure you can imagine, with a football club when you dedicate as many hours as I do to Everton Football Club. So I can't just go home after the game and have a bit of a frustration for 20 minutes and then be fine and move on. Because A, as I've just said, that's not quite how I work. But B, I've got to do a half-an-hour video. And then I've got to do another half-an-hour video. And then the next day I've got to do an hour video. And then a couple of days later I might do another video talking about it. I'm constantly talking about this. I'm constantly involved in this. And I feel like because I'm the only person on this channel, this is my channel, I run this channel, I founded this channel, nobody, obviously we've had people jump in, like Kieran or Jebo or whoever else, when I've not been able to do during the times. But in terms of the owner of this channel and the presenter of this channel, it's only ever been me. So the workload is all on me. It's all on my shoulders. And I'm not moaning, by the way. I'm not saying, oh, woe is me, because I know people will comment, why don't you just stop then if it's a event? Why don't you just stop? Listen, I was very, 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 very close on Saturday to putting a statement out, putting a blanket video out and saying, that's me. I am done. I am absolutely done with it. I can't let Everton have this effect on me anymore, and that means ultimately I can't do 5, 6, 7 videos a week talking about Everton. I've since calmed down, had a bit more of a thought, I had a bit more of a think and digested the situation a little bit more and come to ultimately what this video is, which is an announcement of a change to the channel and the structure. Some people mightn't like this, but the reality of the situation is I need to make this change, especially for now, because this is affecting me in a bad way. The constant negativity, the constant, well, we're going to get taken over by a 777 and they're going to run the club into the ground. And then you've got, well, we're going to get another 10-point deduction. And I need to be able to step away from it. So the decision I've made, and as I said, some of you mightn't like this, some of you might like it. The decision I've made is the Mighty Blues will now become a weekly podcast. It will be one episode a week. The podcast will include lots of things. It won't just be me sitting here rambling and ranting and raving for an hour. We're going to do different sections. We'll have a section where we talk to the comments. I'm thinking about doing a section where I insert a match reaction to whichever game has been played the previous week. Now, that will only be a 30 seconds to a minute reaction, so it takes a lot of the work off me. I can do that on my way home and it's done and dusted within a minute. And obviously we'll upload that to TikTok as well and YouTube Shorts and all of that sort of stuff. But I'm going to transform this into a bit more of a podcast. We will have guests on, and what will typically happen is if Everton have played on a Saturday afternoon, the podcast will come out on a Wednesday afternoon. We'll talk about the game on the Saturday. We'll talk about the game coming up the following weekend, and we'll talk about any news that has happened sort of in and around Everton Football Club. As I said, there'll be some episodes, like the first few, where it'll just be me, as it usually is like this. It'll still be video form. It'll still be on YouTube, by the way, for anybody wondering. It's not going to Spotify. You'll still be able to watch it exactly like this in exactly video form. And some of them I might do live. But the difference is it's not an instant match reaction, then a player ratings, then a match review. Because I also think I'm in danger every week of just repeating myself. There's only so much you can talk about in a 90-minute game of football, especially a lot of Everton's games recently, which have been quite boring and 0-0 draws and 1-1 draws and stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing an instant match reaction for 20 minutes. I'm doing a player ratings for 20 minutes, and then I'm doing a review for an hour. That's nearly 2 hours of content on a game of football that A, only lasted 90 minutes, and B, nothing really happened. Now, that's okay if you've got a different person doing a player ratings or a different person doing a review and a different, but it's not, it's all me. So most of what you are hearing, you're just hearing 2 or 3 times. I'm just repeating myself, and that adds to the stress. And, everything on top of that as well, when people say, oh, you've already said this, Cam, or you said this the other day. So because this is just me, and until we can expand and bring more people in and get more people involved, which isn't now, by the way. I know some people might say, oh, we'll try and do it. I'll jump in. But this isn't the right time for me personally to start introducing, huge new things. We'll have guests on the podcast. Of course, we will have guests on the podcast, but I'm talking about permanent presenters. Because of all of that, I am going to switch it to a podcast. So it'll be one episode a week. As I said, we'll talk about the previous game, we'll talk about the game coming up, and we'll talk about any news that has happened in and around it. And if there is breaking news, for example, another points deduction or another, or a takeover, then we'll do a sort of exclusive extra episode talking about that. And we'll discuss that in a little bit more depth in a separate episode than the weekly one. But what this just means is the pressure and stress and anxiety of watching Everton Football Club isn't doubled on the fact that I know I've got to turn up every day and speak about it, or I've got to be on Twitter constantly talking about it, or ranting, raving, whatever it might be, because I just can't do it anymore. I'll be honest, I can't do it anymore. Saturday, I'm not going to explain what happened or what the exact situation is because it's private and I don't really want to discuss it on here. But Saturday was a huge eye-opener for me. A huge eye-opener to the fact that this really isn't as important as what I might think it is. And in order for me to be able to understand that a lot more, I need to cut back on this. And I think doing one weekly show where I can talk about games, but it's not straight after the game, so I'm not absolutely fuming and frustrated. But as I said, we'll have a little clip of my instant reaction, so you'll still get that raw emotion, but it won't be 20 minutes, half an hour. So it's not as it's not as heavy on me. And I know I'm dedicated once a week. This is the day we're going to record the podcast. It's not all real time, live time. Plus, there's times I can't do instant match reactions straight after the game. There's times I can't do player ratings straight after the game, and that causes me stress because I'm then thinking, oh my god, what if people are thinking, where is he? Why is he not doing a video? I'm gonna unsubscribe. I'm not gonna like. I can't be. I'm this. I'm that. I'm the other. By the way, sorry if this video is a bit choppy and changey. I've got no script. I've got nothing written. I'm just coming off the heart. I'm just coming off the top. I'm just saying what I feel and being honest with you all. But yeah, as I said, people and I think, oh, where's this video? Where's that video? How come you've not done that? And it might, sometimes I've got something on after the game, or I've got to go straight into town, and therefore I can't do a video, or I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other. So yeah, I just think this is a positive step forward. I know some people mightn't like it. I know some people might want to get behind it, but it'll still be on YouTube. Nothing's going to change here. There'll still be that episode, one episode a week, as I said, the Mighty Blues podcast, I'm going to call it. You'll still be able to view it on here, all like this. There'll be various different sections. You'll be able to interact. We'll be able to get involved in the chat. It will be on podcast platforms if you want to listen to it on podcast platforms as well. But a change was needed for me. A change was needed, and as I've thought about it over the last few days, Saturday night, I thought the only way to solve this is I'm not going to Goodison again this season, and I'm not doing another video again this season. I calmed down a lot over the last couple of days and have rationalised a lot, and I've realised that maybe there is a way around this, but it's certainly not the way I'm going now, because it's not helping. So we're going to try this. We'll see if it works. If it does, brilliant. If it doesn't, then we'll reevaluate. But I hope you can get behind it. I hope you'll still stay around. I hope you'll still, want to listen and watch and get involved and all the other stuff. But yeah, I just want to take a little bit of the stress of the situation because it's not. I'm just not dealing with it well. I'll be honest. There's no point me coming on and saying, "Oh, I've been ill," or I had something going on after the game, and ignore it, because it will only keep coming and coming and coming and crawling and crawling, and it will come to a point again where it happens again, and I don't want to go into what happened specifically, but put it this way, knowing what happened, I mightn't be as lucky next time. And it wasn't anything criminal, by the way. I didn't do anything illegal or anything like that. But, again, if it happens again, it mightn't have the same outcome. Luckily, it had the outcome I wanted it to have this time. It mightn't have the same outcome next time. So, yeah, let us know. I'm looking to do the first episode tomorrow. We're going to talk about the West Ham game, and obviously we'll talk about the Manchester United game as well as everything in between. So if you're excited for that, let me know. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe. I apologise for not uploading and for not really giving an explanation, but I needed to wait until I was ready to make this video to come out and say something, and I feel like I'm sort of ready now. So yeah, big thanks for watching. And yeah, let's see what the future holds. I hope you all stay around. If not, I understand. If so, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Big thank you for watching. See you after.